I am fantabulous. I've been sleeping
Wonderful.
super good. I am recovered. Allergies like zapped you and I talked yesterday, and like about an hour after that, I was just like whiny zombie. And then I took some allergy medicine, and that freaking got me loopy. Anyways, I'm still kind of nasally, but I'm better now. What's up? How about you?
I'm good. I'm in the in between trips. So it's like I got home Friday, leave tomorrow. So it's been like trying to catch up. Sleep is the one thing I think that I don't prioritize. And I know it is so important. And so I tried like really hard, like go to bed early if I know I'm going to get up early. But my brain, I don't know why, but it's these change leaders, like their brains just decide when they want to shut down and not, they don't like to shut down.
You know, well, I heard a rumor. I saw some stuff on LinkedIn. You were hanging out with Claudia and a bunch of other
Oh
super
my
amazing
gosh,
humans.
With Emily and Claudia and Anne, and they like I got invited to come and just speak some stuff into the Rinker women at University of Florida at one of their events, and I wasn't really sure. I'd not done it before, but it was amazing. Just it was like a room full of alumni and current students, and I just got to talk to them about the tips and tricks and the things that I've learned along the way that I've screwed up, and that hey, there's a better way to go in
Yes.
and be in an industry and go in and lead and like take ownership of things. And their responses were, they filled my heart, they filled my cup so much.
That's so awesome. And I was like, I hate my life. I want to be there in all the action. But no, I think I saw your post. I saw Claudia's post. Like, man, that's so
Yes.
awesome. Man, we already got people here.
Well,
So,
come on, who's here?
so we're going to talk about what to expect if you want to
Yes.
be a change leader. But we
Yes.
got to show some love to our people.
Yes.
Miss
Good morning.
Alejandra, Esperanza, how are you, ma'am? She says, thank you for the invitation. Thank you for
Yes.
showing up, my sister.
Yes.
Mr. Bruce, for
Yay, we haven't
the,
seen you in a while.
I know, but he remembered today.
I know.
Repeat
Yes. Thank you,
favor.
Bruce.
Yeah. And we got Mr. Abbas. What's up, man?
Yes.
Abbas, thank you, bro. You've been, since we connected the first day, you've been super, super supportive.
Nice.
Appreciate you. I hope you'll bring some questions and thoughts to the
Yes.
conversation. And then we got the chief marketeer.
Yes.
He knows
Showing
a
us.
little bit, right? He knows a little something about leading
He
change.
knows a lot about being a change.
Yeah, he does. And then we got Mr. Lance, the chief
Yes.
troublemaker. He said, good
Yes.
morning to the tribe. Well, we got Miss Colleen. Miss Colleen, first, oh my goodness.
Oh, yes,
Jen,
yes,
Colleen,
yes.
thank you. And Jen is going to do some
Yes.
housekeeping here so we can make
Yes.
sure we get connected and do awesome stuff. So, Jen, would you hit
Wonderful.
the
Yes.
group?
So if you are out there and you are just rolling in and just saying, this is something new on your feed, or somehow you've connected with Jesse and I, or someone sent you this way, we love you and we want to see you and know you. And we cannot do that unless you type something in the chat. So unless you give us let us know you're there, we don't know who's out there listening. So for us, not just Jesse and I, but for our entire No BS tribe, who is amazing, what we ask is, if this is the first time that you're on the show, or if you've been listening, you maybe just wanted to sit back in the back and lurk a little bit. If you will please just type a blue heart, and it's right click, go to emojis and put a blue heart. You can type a blue heart. You can put a blue anything really. We don't care. But if you will put that in the chat, that lets us know that you're new. So we want to recognize you. And two, it lets our tribe know that we have a new member. And the initiation is just kind of like you're about to get inundated with connections and support, and they will engage with your content, and they will and then there's all these stuff. Jesse and I kind of get jealous because then there's whole conversations that are happening in the chat while we're trying to talk.
And that's good. That's what we want, right? Y'all
Yes.
support each other, connect.
Yes.
It's the community. But yes, I do get a little jealous. Like, come on,
Yes.
man. Pay attention.
So Colleen is a blue heart. So she said it first before we were able to say add a blue heart. So yes, blue heart for Colleen.
Boom. All right. You already know. Swarm and support Miss Colleen. And we got Miss Carolyn Smith. She says, I have missed you both.
Yes,
Miss Carolyn,
we have
missed you
missed you.
too. Good
Yes,
morning.
thank you for being here.
And then we got Miss Mika. That is Mika.
Yes,
And
yes.
you know what? I am just going to blame her
Okay.
for this topic today.
Oh,
'Cause
you're
it
right.
was right. It was a lot of her
Yes.
thoughts and questions at the after party last time
Mhm.
that kind of planted the seed for the topic for today's
Yes.
discussion.
Which is usually how things happen with us, Jesse. We have our 500-year plan is definitely laid out, except we don't know what we're going to talk about in 2 weeks.
Right.
Until today.
And we figure that out on the after party.
Yes.
So folks, if you're out
Yes.
there, if you're lurking, keep lurking. We love you too. But we do have an after party. So 5 minutes after we close the call, we will have the after party so that we can learn from you and get
Yes.
better connected. You don't have to have your camera on. It's fine if you just want to like share your voice. So that's going to be an option. I'll make sure and spread the links around there at the end here. And we got Mr. Clyde King. He says, I'm alive, still above water. The snow's melting, and I'm sure that's just a big, giant mess. Oh, man, look, we got some other repeat offenders. Miss Trisha. How you doing, Miss Trisha? She's so awesome. You know what? Miss Trisha turned me on to like, it's probably basic, but for me, it was huge. You know, she did the Do the Damn Thing time management workshop.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have like, now we're going to have a monthly accountability call kind of check-in, and we're sharing tips and tricks. And anyways, she was like, oh yeah, I just dragged my email into my Trello card. I said, what? She's like, yeah, it'll like format and populate across. I said, what? And I've been using Trello for a decade now. Like, it's so awesome. So Trisha, thank you for the tips. I hope things are going well. Mr. Jordan, what's up, Jordan? Welcome back.
Yes.
We got everybody coming in. Mika says, yes. No problem. I will take that blame.
She'll own
it. And Melissa says, hey, Jordan and Tribe, good morning. What's up there? Melissa, glad to have you back. I hope you'll be at the after party, girl.
Yes.
And so Carolyn says she really needs, oh yeah. We'll figure. I think we got to figure it out, Carolyn. And if not, we'll do our best to figure it out today and get you into the after party, because it's a link and another link, and you know it's things because LinkedIn canceled the other stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, folks out there, keep it coming, because as you comment and like leave stuff in the chat, you get your name put into the randomizer. And so at the top of the hour, we'll do the little kind of raffle thing. Mm-hmm. And right now we have 11 entries. So whenever you make a comment, it gets you in the randomizer, and then we'll do the randomizer selection thing, and you'll get a free invite to Emotional Bungee Jumpers this month here in February. It's a brand new month. Son of a gun. And it's like your favorite month because your favorite holiday's coming, right, Jen?
Just like December is your favorite month. Yes. Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
November is not my favorite month.
Oh, man. Okay. So you have all the silver bullets, Jen. So just tell everybody.
I think our conversation is interesting as we were prepping for this one. I think our conversations we have a lot more lessons learned on things that we kind of thought we had figured out. And then we were like, oh, this is how I'm going to do it. And it didn't work right. It didn't go the way that we expected. And then along the way, we've learned, oh, okay, we kind of have to approach things a little differently than maybe we were conditioned to attack them.
Yes. And speaking, look, you got somebody's got a little.
Good morning, Heather.
Coming in from YouTube land. What's up, Miss Heather? All right. So Mika, this is your fault, and I love that you're ready to take the blame. And the idea behind this is like what to expect if you want to be a change leader. And it's not roses, right? It's not rainbows and unicorns. And I felt like it was an important conversation because I remember early in my, like, I shouldn't even say change career. Like I have, and I bet some of you people out there drop a thumbs up if you know this life. I have been chronically discontent with the way things are done, period. Right. And so I would, even as an apprentice, like, why are we doing it this way? Why is it set up this way? Isn't there a better way? Why don't we use different tools? Da, 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 da. And I would get my feelings hurt. I felt rejected and like nobody cares and minimized and like all these things because people wouldn't change, right? Like they wouldn't listen to me. Now, I learned part of the reason they didn't listen to me is because I had no body of work. I hadn't earned any credibility. I just came in like a wrecking ball, right? And critiquing and telling everybody there's a better way. So, I learned how to do that differently. But it was still a little deflating because it took so much effort and energy to get people to shift. And I blamed those people.
Yes.
Fast forward, I have a different mindset. So before I go further, Jen, where are you at on this thing? What's your origin story?
I've been in a full-time like change leader role for 6 years. So leading up to that, my thought process was like, yes, I am 100% on board with you on there is a better way. Like, that is how I live every day. And I mean, there's always opportunities for things to get better, like at home. And I mean, it doesn't matter, like processes, people, everything. There's always like, we're always in this state of evolution. So that is how I live. And I think early on, because I would see all the things that I knew could be better. And that I knew this, just try this and it'll do this. And I could kind of see it. Sometimes you and I can kind of see these things. I was doing change to people.
Ooh.
Versus doing change with people. And so that mindset shift is where I literally saw just the trajectory go, just out of this universe, is when I stopped seeing things and going, you should do this, or this is a better way. I would stop. And now that I've realized the bad ways I used to be, I stop and I see exactly what I think could help. But I just start asking questions about where they are, what their pain points are, what are things that they've experienced, what are some things that they'd like to change. And then it gives me a baseline of kind of where they are. Then as I'm asking questions, then things start to surface. And then together, we can collaborate, we can talk about things. And in the end, they own it and it's theirs and they contributed to it. And the shift and the impact and the rate of change is it's just crazy when it's theirs.
Yes. Oh my God.
That's my thought process on change.
Yeah. No, I think the key thing that I want people to like chew on out there, especially if you're frustrated and irritated because you see the potential and you want to make something happen, is, are you doing it to them or are you doing it with them? Mm-hmm. I'll even say for them, because sometimes you got to do it for them, or at least that's one of my techniques, right? Like when they're really, really stuck, I'll just do it for them, knowing that I'm leading to doing it with them. But doing it to them, that's violation, right? Like you're creating the conditions for massive friction.
And it's not sustainable, Jesse. Like if we're doing it to somebody, just like if we help our child do something and we continue to help do it, they're never going to learn it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not sustainable.
Mm-hmm. It's not, because as soon as I left the room, guess what happened? They did whatever the hell they wanted to do.
Exactly.
I wasn't doing any listening. I was doing a lot of this. Now, Colleen, I think she's a little bit of experience. And how do I know? Because of her comment here. She says, what to expect if you want to be a leader of change? A Zoloft prescription. Yes, 100%. It's funny because there's some stress associated with it. Steve says how to spell unicorns and rainbows, because you're gonna have to spell them because they ain't there. And then we also have this rock star, Miss Elizabeth.
Good morning, Elizabeth.
I got to hang out with her in Dallas. How you doing, girl? She's so awesome. I got to hang out and talk goofy stuff. So you mentioned like listening, and I want to, on this line of thinking of like doing it to them or doing it with them, is it the change leader's job to sell? And so folks out there in the omniverse, do you approach the deployment of change or improvement or continuous improvement or whatever fancy words are being used, operational excellence, like whatever, are you selling it? And is that helpful? Jen, what do you think?
Oh my gosh. So, and I'm going to add a little extra to this. So, is it my job to sell or defend? Because
Okay.
for me, the shift when I mean, I see and then I want to engage with it, the amount of energy and time I was putting just to get people to a place to where they would receive, I was tired. I was done. Like at that point, then I had to like actually do the damn thing. Then I actually had to spend the time with them, coach them, walk them through it step by step, do the PDCA, all those things. And after I finally got them to a place where they were ready to receive it. Like, so not only did I really didn't have a lot of time anyway, much less the time to get them there. And then, okay, now we have it. Like there's already a lot of people out there that are starving. They are hungry. They are passionate, and they want to be in this space that we're in. And we spend so much time trying to get these little resistors and these people that are on the they're outlying. And we spend so much energy on just let's pull them in. And then you have these other people that are just like, what's next? What's next? And I don't know why we do it because it's like something in us. But when we can just go, you know what? We're going to focus here. We're going to focus on the ones that want to do it. Then the magic is all the people on the outside go, what is that? I want to be a part of that. Hey, tell me about that. All of a sudden, it's like you build it and they will come. It's like all of a sudden, that's the things that happen. And we've seen it on the job sites. If you have people that aren't engaged, if you have people that aren't there, this is the system we're going to work in. Well, what's that? Why is my name on there? Why am I constrained? All the stuff. And then all of a sudden, they want to be a part of the conversation that they were like, I'm not going to show up to a morning meeting. All of a sudden, they're there because they don't want to have their name on the board.
Right.
So it's like, to me, like, and you say it, feed the hungry.
Yes.
Focus on that. And the other stuff will work, will kind of, we'll get them there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. So like overarching, I'm going to say this probably 10 times today. Yes. What to expect if you want to lead change? Expect friction.
Yes.
Expect rejection. Expect slow glacial progress. For real.
Yes.
It is possible that I just don't know what the hell I'm doing, right? Like maybe I just suck at it. But I've been playing in this space for years, right? And it's what it is. And so the mind shift that I had to make so that I didn't get in my own way was people are not rejecting me. They are rejecting change.
Yes, right? It's not personal.
And we internalize it, right? I would internalize it because I'm a delicate flower and I don't want to be, they don't care about me. It's the change to the work and the conditions and the processes and everything that was fine before. That's what they're rejecting. And so hopefully that helps somebody. Like that's a nugget to hang on. Now we have some people coming in. So we got Miss Haiti. She says, good morning. First time joining.
Blue heart. Yes. Give her some love and connect to her. Yes.
100%. And here's I think a solid point to dig into. Mr. Bruce says, personal change has to precede a broader change. Leadership happens from the front. And so I feel like that's kind of in line with what I just said, right? Like I had to change the way I thought, the way I responded to stimulus so that I could impact broader change. So the change has to happen within me first, right? When I still remember 5S, I was working with the group of service guys, and the idea was we're going to 5S their vans because they had so much material in there and the weight of the material was costing fuel and, blah, 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 right? So super nerdy stuff. Anyways, one of the guys straight up asked me, he's like, Jesse, I'm looking at your truck and your truck's a freaking mess. Why are you talking to me about 5S? I'm like, oh, shoot, right? Like,
yes.
He had a point. So of course I'm like, okay, next, I know I got another batch of these guys. I'm going to 5S my truck.
Mhm.
And what that helped me do, this might sound kindergarten, but it's a point that I think change leaders, aspiring change leaders, whatever, need to like really, really understand is what the changing feels like. And so when I went through and did the stupid 5Sing of my truck, I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm the only one that uses it. I know where everything's at. This is dumb. Like all of this real thing was happening,
Yes.
but I did it. And so when I got the next batch of guys and we're working through the thing, those objections that they had, I was prepared to understand that perspective and say, yeah, I feel you. And here's some other things that kind of come from that. Like, and so it wasn't, again, I wasn't doing it to them anymore. I was doing it with them.
Yes.
So Bruce, thank you for that comment. What do you think, Jen?
No, and this is a quote. Again, it's your quote, and I use it all the time. And we started this whenever we were doing lean in love and all that. But you say this all the time: exhibit the behaviors you seek. Yeah, and it's very simple, but like stop and think about that. You're asking somebody to do something. You are you're trying to help somebody see a better way. Exhibit the behaviors you seek. Are they seeing you do it? Are they watching and witnessing the value it has in your life or in your space or things like that? So very, your van example, but it's exhibit the behaviors you seek.
Yes, you got to demonstrate that. Otherwise, you're just talking smack, right? Like, and so back to the question, right? Is it our job to sell? You said, and I like that you said sell and defend because that's an extra layer of delineation. Steve Martin says, yes, it's our job to sell, but don't sell you need to change, sell we can improve. So that's a spin on it, right? Now, for a large part of my career, people have told me, man, Jesse, you're a great salesman. And I'm like, don't you ever tell me that, right? Well, now I'm operating my own business and I'm like, you know what? I'm a pretty good salesman. And but here's like the difference is for me in my brain, this is how I can reconcile it. I'm not telling them you need this because I want to give it to them. I'm, like you said earlier, I'm understanding what their pain points are, where the friction points are, if they want a different outcome or a different experience. And then I'm presenting options, which is the same thing I do when I'm negotiating a deal with my clients. So I think it is selling, but it's not convincing them. Like, I'm not going to tell you need this and you got to do this. Like, this is the answer. Like, oh, I think I have something that can help. Do you want it or not? Right. Like, that's kind of the deal there. Now, you talked about how a lot of times we'll get distracted and sucked in to the resistors.
Yes.
Right. Like the naysayers. And you're right. 100%. My philosophy is feed the hungry. Are there going to be resistors all the time, every time? Who do I give my attention to? I can give it to the resistors, but that's going to take a hell of a lot of energy.
Yes.
And like, here's the kind of meta thing that's happening is when I'm giving the resistors attention, I'm kind of subliminally rewarding that behavior.
Yes.
Right? Because the early adopters are getting ignored and not supported and not nurtured. And so my practice, feed the hungry. That first, the adoption curve, right? 20% are going to resist, 60% are going to be on the fence. And then the other 20 are like, yeah, I want it. Give me the new iPhone. Give me the new thing. I want all the new things. Invest in those people, celebrate them, recognize them, elevate them. And they become your advocates for the frozen middle. And the guys, like the people on the back of the tape, just leave them there. Who cares? I mean, business-wise, I know that's not cheap, but there's a greater ROI on investing in the early adopters. And so Mr. Jordan says the Pareto principle, right?
Yes.
Focus on the 20% of the people that will make 80% of the change, right?
Yes.
100%. Like those few people that are excited or curious and interested, give them the love because they got the momentum and the energy and the mindset to try to experiment and to support the change that you're working towards. What does that mean? That means 80% of the people are going to drive you up the damn wall, and that's okay. Oh my God. Do you know this person, Jen?
Yes. Good morning, Sarah.
Sarah, good morning. I heard a rumor that her and Steve Martin were like on the screen at the same
Right. Yeah.
time.
Yesterday. Yes.
Yo, how about this guy?
Good morning, James. How are you?
The
Gosh, we got everybody
uncommon
showing up today.
communicator. Been a while, James. Hope you're doing well, my man. I keep seeing he's got some cool posts like on the TikTok and stuff. All right, so Miss Carolyn shares this nugget. She says, the most important part is to know your audience. Yeah, there we are again. And know your product. This will get your audience excited to learn about what you're selling. Thank you for that, Miss Carolyn.
Yes.
Let's see, there was another one in here. Oh, I like this one. It isn't change management if you're just creating a better environment for yourself.
That part.
Right. And so,
yes.
Why does that land with you, Jen?
Well, it lands because you and I talk a lot about serving.
Yes.
We talk a lot about like serving others and what is for you, what is that, the path you're intended to be like, what is that promise? What is that, where am I supposed to be? And this is the promise that I'm intended to be on in the path and all those things. And I think sometimes we confuse that with everything else needs to go to the wayside as long as I'm doing what serves me. And I think you and I talk a lot about serving others, and I think our minds don't start with other. We start with self because we're self-preservation, and we want to make sure that we're comfortable and that we're like, we make a lot of decisions where self is first. And I think when you're a change leader, I hate to say it, but like if you're not going to be everything you could be if your first filter is self.
Yes.
And so you had to learn, I kind of had to learn some of that because it was like, I knew if I could do these things, then I could help others. And that's kind of how I thought for the longest time. And then I realized like, but I'm one person, Jesse. And if I want it, like, how can I, one person, impact all of these things and get everybody to do the things that I see are, the direction we need to go, versus serve others and let other people, their cups be filled and they are inspired and they're excited. Well, then they're out there doing those things along with me.
Yeah. No, but I think that's an important reality that we got to contend with, right? Like when I had a real job, if I didn't meet my objective, like I was officially like a change deployer, right? That was my role, similar to yours. And there were objectives, right? There was some stuff, milestones that I needed to hit. There were things that were in my job description that I had to do. So self-preservation naturally says like, bro, you need to do these things or you might lose your job or get demoted or whatever. Now, fortunately, I'm in a situation, and I have been for a long time, like, well, if you don't like what I'm doing, get rid of me, right? I'm going to do it. This is the way I'm going to do things. And if it works for us, like, I believe it'll work. I've proven that it works. But if you don't like it, like, this is what you get, Yep. So anyways, but I know a lot of people that are in a situation, and because of this self-preservation element, they're worried about the pressure of not performing or having to report out and quarterly reviews and all these things that naturally influences the energy that they come at leading change, which becomes me. Now, you still have a real job, and you've transitioned to, or maybe migrated over towards more them than me, like not so much self-preservation, more a perspective of service. What was that transition like for you? Was it scary? Was it easy?
And you're talking and I'm like, I know the moment when it was all about the questions I was asking. It was all about the conversations I was having. And so it was for the longest time, because I was coming in supporting a lot of projects, a lot of people, a company. What do I need to do? What do you need me to do? Tell me what I need to do to be successful. Tell me how I can provide value. Those were my questions early on, so that I could make sure I was doing what they wanted me to do. Still, so in my mind, I'm serving. Just tell me what you need me to do. Tell me where I need to go. And I'm telling you, it by depending on them to define it, and sometimes most of them didn't know how to answer. So I was scrambling. I was answering calls. I was on flights. I was saying yes to a lot of things because in my mind, they're all my customers. They're all people that I need to serve. And I just need, if I'm doing those things, then I'm doing my job and I'm providing value. And the shift for me, the shift where I saw how I could be more impactful, how I can influence more people, and how the rate of change could go faster is when I went in to those same conversations or those same people and go, here is how I'm going to provide value. When the conversation changed from asking someone to tell me something that most of them didn't know the answer,
right,
to me going, here's how I can provide value, which means I'm going to have to say no to these things, which means I may not get on an airplane over here, which means that I may have to push that out for 2 or 3 months because of capacity and things like that. And I got no resistance, none. But yet it took me forever to realize that I had the answers and I was looking for those answers in everyone else.
Yes. Oh my God, that's brilliant. So like saying, this is what I got for you. What do you want? Instead of saying, hey, what do you want me to do? They're like, doing what you're doing. Right. Like, I mean, 100%. I think that's amazing. And so folks out there, if you're in the struggle bus with it, like I'm going to say it. I promised I would say it a bunch of times. That's because that's the way it is.
Yes, that's true.
For real. If you don't want friction, if you don't want to feel rejection, and you want smooth sailing, just do it the way everybody else is doing it and let them continue living through that. Like that's, for me, that is the choice. Yes. I can just shut my mouth and let's just do it like we've always done it, which is going to drive me crazy. Yeah. Or I can advocate for change and identify ways to improve the outcome for the individual doing it and the people further downstream, and deal with the rejection and the slow. Like it's which bag of poo do you want?
It's going to be hard either way. Like I say, work hard and be nice to be kind to people, because you're not just going to be able to like float if you want to like change the world. Like you're just not going to be able to do it. Right.
And it's lonely. Has it ever been lonely for you, Jen?
Oh, absolutely. And I think, and in part of my talk this week, with the group of women down in Florida, it was like there are 3 big things that help. Number 1 is your voice, like how you speak and the words that you use. The other is your village. The other is your vision. Like, what is your plan? What is your path? And the third is your village. And to me, I told them, like, these are all important. This is the most important thing. Find people that will breathe life into you and that will inspire you and get you excited. And if you're in a room and you leave and go, I don't feel it, then you're that person. So don't go back into that room anymore.
Yes. I know you said, well, then you're that person. Like, oh shit. Yeah, for real. So LinkedIn is acting wonky. I'm getting kind of like backdoor messages here. So folks, I had put a link to the YouTube live stream. So if it's acting weird for you guys, jump on over to YouTube. Nobody seems to be having a problem there. So Mr. Kenneth, who has exquisite refined taste, says, Jesus Hernandez, you are such a gem of a gentleman, a human being and a friend of mine, and to millions who shares his goodness with others for the betterment of humankind. Like, again, thank you, Ken. That's awesome.
Yes, you like your cup, for sure. Those are the people we want around us.
Well, you got some love too, Laura. Yeah,
yes,
right.
Thank you, Laura.
That is why Jennifer is amazing.
She's another. Jesse, and I want to double down on this because you and I talk about this all the time. And who are those people that you surround yourself with? Who are those people you share space with? Who are your advisory council? Those people that will reflect back to you, be honest, be authentic, be real. But also be there to cheer you on. Like, you are one of those people. Laura is one of those people. Like, who are those people that are not just going to sit there and, rah, 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 but they're not going to get down in the trenches with you. They're not going to, really really dig in and sometimes get uncomfortable and say stinky things. And like you and I talk a lot about that, the importance of the people that you surround yourself with.
Oh my God. Yes. And speaking of people, we got Mr. Josh Lubker coming in. It's been a while, but he's here. Glad you're here.
Yes.
I'm going to take this as a signal that your sleep is getting more stable because they just had a new baby, brought a new baby into the world. And so maybe the baby stayed asleep longer. Thanks for being here, Josh. And folks, I got to remind y'all, if you're lurking,
yes,
you just make a comment or drop an emoji in the chat. You will get in the randomizer.
Yes.
And that gets you, like now Josh is in there. If he gets selected, he gets a free pass to Emotional Bungee Jumpers next month. Yes. All right, so we got some pretty interesting testimonials here. Miss Colleen, oh man, I've been through this. She says, I experienced a very painful 3-month reset last year on practical problem solving in leading teams, realizing human factors cannot be excluded. I'm laughing, Colleen, because I used to think, like, why are we worried about people? Like, duh, like this is just a process we need to do because da-da-da-da-da-da. That doesn't work. I embraced the mapping of group dynamics in the PPS framework. Game changer. That sounds super interesting. The mapping of group dynamics. There's 3 things and I stole this from a book, The Dance of Change. There's 3 things that I'm adamant about when we're deploying a change or kind of designing some kind of improvement. It's like there's 3 things we need to consider, and we almost always consider the business value, and we message how it's going to improve the business, and sure, like of course I think that's a good thing, but I don't give a shit, like for real. And so there's 2 other elements, not just the bit, like, and when I say elements, I'm talking about to incorporate in the messaging and like use it as a cost value analysis. Is it going to drive business value? If it doesn't, why are you doing it? If it is, and you think it's high importance, then what's the social value? Identify that or build it, bake it in. And what's the personal value for each individual human being?
Yes.
And if you have those 3 points built in, not just to the deployment of the change and the outcome, but in the messaging, you got a nice recipe to start rolling and making things happen. Is that too nerdy, Jennifer?
No, but Jesse, and I want to question you. So when you're in a room and people are talking or someone's trying to breathe value into you, what do you connect with the most? The business value, the social value, or the personal value?
Like for real, my brain is calculating business value.
Okay. And right? So if we have people that are receiving it that way, how do you help create that personal value connection?
Yes. So that's the analysis. Like, okay, I can, okay, yeah, that's going to improve by whatever percentage, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Then it's like, okay, now let's open the gates. Mm-hmm. And so the question, like in the social value, I'm going to try and answer it this way.
Okay.
Whenever I'm negotiating a deal with the client and we're talking about training and some skills and whatever, I'm like, okay, I like doing group. I will always recommend a group experience. Mm-hmm. Because I know that in that group experience is a natural social element to it.
Yes.
Right. They're all going to suffer through the same misery of me being in front of them the whole day. And then they have a common factor to refer back to and learn and complain and gripe or celebrate and excite. So there's the social value. And while I'm delivering that thing, I'm actively seeking out, teasing out, how will this make your day better? What are the pains that you're experiencing, each individual on a daily basis, that this thing, whatever I got, can help? Does that?
It does. So yes, and can you touch on how vulnerability plays into that?
Oh my God. Oh yeah. Okay, I missed it. So yes.
No, you're good.
Naturally. Right, you already know why I don't date. And folks, if you don't know why I don't date, it's because I do math in my head first. Going on a date with somebody is 3 hours of my time because I'm counting like taking a shower, getting ready, driving over there, getting back home, like all of that. Minimum 3 hours and about $200, right? And the ROI on that is the opportunity to spend another 3 hours and $200. Like, no, ma'am, I got other things to do. And so, like, that's where my brain naturally goes all the time, counting. Now, because I'm naturally there, like, that's what's happening in my head. And I want to understand what people appreciate, like personally human stuff. If I set the stage by being vulnerable, which I have a lot of practice at, and for clarity, vulnerability, authenticity is simply sharing the dirty details about my human experience. And so when I share that, when I'm vulnerable and transparent about screwing up, about doing it wrong, about what I'm struggling with, about what I'm celebrating, that signals to the group that it's okay for us to go there. And then I can like reap all the nuggets, the personal value that they're looking for, and integrate that into the messaging and to the experience.
Yes.
Did I get a gold star this time?
You did great. And for those of you, because I think you and I get to have lots of practice with this, that don't have a lot of practice, it's scary, Jesse, because you kind of like show your cards. You kind of take the armor off and the protection off of, look at me, and I've got all this body of work and I am so knowledgeable. Like, you literally taking that armor off and that protection to go, I'm human, I screw up. And there may be people in the room that go, well, you just lost your credibility. And so you kind of have to make a decision on how you're going to show up and why.
Like, there's risk.
Yes. I want to make sure we're saying that. Like, we're not just saying, here's all the answers and your world's going to be great if you just do what we say. We are not saying that.
Right. No. I've been in rooms where I was vulnerable and the feedback was, this was too personal. This was like lovey-dovey BS. That's not what I came for. Like, okay. Like, I'm not your guy.
Right.
And that's okay. Oh, so we got a super easy softball question, Jen, that I think you have the answer for. But there's a couple of comments I want to go over first.
Okay.
Melissa says, I've always heard in sales that a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. Right? So if you're convincing them, they still got this thing that like they're not okay. Understanding their pain points, what they desire, and present options. Sell, but don't convince. Amen. Thank you. Thank you,
coercion. Why is coercion like not okay? It's because you're literally like, you're getting them to see what you see or what you want, and it doesn't change their like innate what they believe. Right.
Like, they're agreeing under duress or to get you out of their face.
Yes.
It doesn't mean they love it. And then Mr. Milo, what's up, Milo? Thank you for commenting, because now you're in the randomizer. Milo says, once you identify the real needs of your team, your role becomes self-explanatory, provided you are paying attention. All right. So asking, listening, they design the path.
What? It's not it's not prescribed and it's not already set. You're not going in just to check boxes. What?
Right. I use the analogy of like, nobody goes to the restaurant and orders the whole menu, right? Like, nobody does that. And if like the restaurant you went to forced you to order the whole menu, you wouldn't go to it anymore. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times we get excited. Rather, I'll say it this way: early in my change leader lifestyle, I showed up and said, you're going to have them. Look at this menu. This menu is awesome. Buy everything on the menu. And I like make people sick. Instead of asking and listening, like Milo said, and letting them pave the way and signal the proper direction. And then I said, let's get this thing on the menu. We need some dessert before the main course on this one, because whatever. So thank you for that.
Well, just I want to add, you also, the restaurants don't like order it for you. So like, they don't go in and say, oh, you look like you want a steak today. And you kind of look like you want a salad. We're going to go ahead and bring those out to you. So like, there's another layer of, yes, there's the whole menu, but also like, if you don't know your customer and you don't know, what it is that's needed, you're creating a plan and it may not even accomplish what you want to accomplish.
Yes. Yes. And it's okay, right? PDCA, when I screw it up and make a big mess of things, PDCA, I get to change. It's all an experiment. Actually, and I'll add that. I think of more and more, I can't say everything, but I'm pretty damn close now. I just think of things as an experiment.
Yes.
Gives me the freedom to like not to get untangled from the overthinking and what did I do wrong and like, well, let's just see if this will work. Run the experiment and okay, that worked, that didn't. Okay, let me adjust next time, which is PDCA. Now here's the big question, and folks in the Omniverse, please respond because this is a serious question. The question is this: is what if your leadership is the resistor of positive change? How does a change maker navigate that situation? And I know you have the textbook answer, Jen, so come on.
I don't have the textbook answer, but I have a couple of answers. So I don't have, it's not one size fits all. I realize that. So there's a couple of ways in my mind to think about this question. Number one is, what is your circle of influence that you have? So if you are coming in and you are in a place to where your circle of influence is very small, okay? And then you in your mind see all the things outside of that and you cannot impact them. You cannot influence those things. Then you're going to have to do some self-reflection on what do I want to do and what can I impact and what can I change? And if you're doing this self-assessment and you realize it's really small, like you're going to have to like realize that you have to own that. You can't just like be mad and angry at a leadership group that you don't have the impact and the influence to change anything, and it's their fault. Because I'm going to tell you in this industry, and just you can like give me stats if you want, but there are so many places that need people. And I'm not advocating for just leave and go do something else, because that is never like, we know there's people that, don't like hard work. So they're going to go somewhere else, or they don't want to travel and they're going to go somewhere else. Like, I'm not trying to say just up and leave. But if you are in the mindset that there is a better way and you stay somewhere because you feel like I can be the change and you don't have support, it's going to be a long, hard road. And in the end, you may not impact anything but what's inside your circle.
Yes.
And if you're okay with that, I'm just going to impact my job, what I do here, my job site, we're going to be, and we know people that have worked in firms, you and I, that, my job is going to be doing these things. Outside of that, the company was not there. The leadership was not there. And they were able to do that, and they were good. They had that experimentation mindset. They were good. But we also know people that every day, that Monday morning when they have to go to work, they're miserable because they know they're going to fight every day, every meeting, every interaction. They're going to be fighting for something that they believe in, and it's not there. Then your self-assessment needs to be, is this where I'm supposed to be?
Yeah. So, and I got a lot of answers for this one. Like, I know the guaranteed number one fastest way to solve any problem. Guess what it is, Jen?
Oh gosh. Let me think. Number one way to solve a problem is to blame it on somebody else.
No, decide it's not a problem.
Oh, I like that.
Right? Like, yes. For real. Just decide it's not a problem anymore. Ignore it and move on to the next one. I know that sounds like I'm goofing, but I'm not goofing. There's like, here's the thing. You've seen this. You went through SQI with me. Mm-hmm. And think back to when you got introduced to the 8 waste and this lean way of doing construction. You couldn't unsee it. Yeah. Right? Like it's everywhere. And I remember when I got introduced to it, like, oh my God, the world's gonna end. Look at all the problems, look at all the waste, look at all the It's always been there. Yes. And the sky didn't fall down. Yes. So I had to manage, like, sure, there's a lot of bullshit, but I can't fix it all. And if I try to, I'm spinning my wheels. Yes. So, but which comes kind of back to your point, right? What's my locus of control? What's my circle of influence? Let me start there. Yes. So decide it's not a problem, A. The second point is think about, or this is difficult, and I know it offends people sometimes, but the question for me is always this: if the student hasn't learned, the teacher hasn't taught. That's high accountability for me.
Yes.
Like, if my leader is not about it, what am I doing wrong, or what could I change in my approach to help the leader get there? Now, I'm not anybody's martyr. And so at some point I'm gonna cut the fool off, right? And like, you know what? You want to swim in your garbage, keep swimming. I gotta go, I'm gonna find another pool. And so I'm gonna kind of go high level, and then I'm gonna come down to like basics. When I knew that I had to start my own business, it was exactly this situation. I had an idea and I proposed it to my bosses. Like, here's where I get, and of course I changed the words, but I knew that there was this stuff that I do now that I do all the time. But back then I did it sometimes, but it gave me so much fulfillment. Mm-hmm. And I knew how impactful it was for the people that I was serving when I had a real job. So I went to my bosses and I said, here's the, my 600-year plan. And they said, Jesse, we don't need that. I said, okay. And because I've been on this path of change the whole time, I know that I could have stayed there and just been that salmon going upriver, the whole upstream the whole time. And it would have taken me 10 or 15 years to make a little small dent, a little baby scratch. And I could complain and piss and moan, or I could just start my own damn business and prove if it works. Now, I'm not saying go start a business. I'm saying that there is a reality in that the business leaders, it's their freaking business. They can do what they want.
Yes.
Right? Like, I'm not advocating for that, but it is a reality that I had to reconcile and come to terms with. Now, have I ever been in a situation, in a team, in a group that I didn't have the authority, that I didn't have the formal influence, and still influence changed? Yes.
Yes.
But how did I learn how to do that? I learned how to do that by being in situations where I banged my head up against the wall, scraped my knees and elbows, and didn't make any progress. And so here's the fundamental basic thing is, if you're in that situation where your leaders or leadership is not a proponent, is deaf, is like they're not hearing it, you can blame them. That's not going to get you anywhere. Or you can say, you know what? This is going to be my practice field. I'm going to learn, right? How do I build my skills of influence? How do I build my credibility? How do I better serve the people around me so that I can have them like coming to me? And how do I build my team? That's not a guarantee that you're going to make those things happen, but it is a beautiful venue to start building those skills. And again, shifting away from they're rejecting me to they're rejecting change. Okay, I'm going to use this as a practice field to build some next level skills of listening, understanding, and influencing until I find them until I go to the A league, right? Till I find the team where they're ready for that sort of thing, because I know this for sure. Sure, I'm an advocate for change, and I've kind of always been. And then I ended up on a team, like in an environment that nurtured that. And I didn't know how to speak their language, because I was still dictating, this is what people need to do because they're doing it wrong. And they're like, bro, like, chill out. Like, nobody, like, oh. And so my point is, just because I saw improvement and there was a lot that I contributed to helping people resist it. Mm-hmm. And then I'll say one last thing that's a really, really important question to ponder or even ask those leaders and think about. Nobody is choosing to do something because they want to make life harder for themselves.
Correct.
Nobody's choosing it for that reason. So what does that mean? They are getting some kind of value from it. So if I invest the time and energy to understand the value that they're getting from the current condition, that's making deposits in the emotional bank account, which then helps build my influence. What do you think, Jen?
Well, I just want to double down, and I believe this with every cell in my body, is when you can't impact a lot of things, you can impact your decisions and what you do. And so for me, early on, when I was still in a very learning place and kind of absorbing things, I doubled down on how can I build my body of work. And that's,
Yes.
and again, it wasn't a selfish thing. It was to do that. I was asking a lot of questions. I was visiting a lot of job sites. I was getting people to talk me through their thing. I mean, like just a lot of engagement that I could just have conversations with people. And as I was doing that, I was making adjustments. And I was doing some things that would impact that person or this job or whatever. I was doing these slowly things. It wasn't a policy. It wasn't a procedure. It wasn't a roles and responsibilities. Here's the list of things Jennifer can do. It was me just slowly doing that. And over the course of 5, 6, 7 years, that body of work has walked in the room. I am the subject matter expert. It didn't start that way. And they didn't go, Jennifer, we want you to become this person and we need you to do all this knowledge. Like I had to make those decisions on my own. And I mean, it doubles down on what you just said. Sometimes you just have to make those decisions. And then what are those things that I can impact and influence? And sometimes, most of the times, the people that you are dealing with, the leaders or people around you, they don't even know that that's something that could be, that could even happen. So it's not, they don't know, they're not giving me permission. They're not supporting it. But if in their brain, they don't even know what it is, like, I mean, you can only blame that for so long until is it your job to start learning and understanding it. And then you can help them understand. So
yes.
I can talk about this all day, every day. So
yeah. No, I mean, and hopefully, like folks, are we helping? Is this a like thumbs up? Is this making sense? Or are we over here so far removed in la la land? But it reminds me of David Verbal, who's one of my coaches, mentors, friends, amazing. He helped me understand because I was still, it took me a while to kind of like figure it out or learn it. He's like, Jesse, a plan without agreement is a wish. Right? I'll say it again. A plan without agreement is a wish. And so I would have these, and I always have them. You've seen the 600-year plan for No BS with Jen and Jess. I have a plan and what I want and who's going to do what and how things are going to go. And there's a lot of people involved in that. But if they're not on board, if I haven't gained agreement on the problem, on the plan, it's a wish. It is not going to happen.
Yes.
And so what's the message there that say the leader's a resistor? How do I get the leader's agreement? Mm-hmm. And so another kind of like simple tactic, I say simple, it's not simple, it's scary, but it's easy, is are you on board or not? Right? Like, do you want to, are we going to do it? Yes or no? This is the commitment and support I need. This is what it's going to look like. Are you prepared to do that? Yes or no? If it's no, what do we need to do to get to a yes? And if there's no yes, guess what? It's not a problem anymore because I can keep banging my head up against the wall and getting pissed off and bad mouthing everybody and, the whole thing. So Tammy, what's going on, Miss Tammy?
Yes. Hello, Tammy. I want to make a point, but bring your stuff up. There's a point that you just said that made my brain started firing. Good morning, Tammy. That part. I mean, I think you started this whole conversation with that. And I think it's when you can just decide, then you're able to let go of some things that like you're just holding on, the emotional, all the things that are like, so I know. And when you can just go, it's not a problem. And then you can just keep moving forward.
Yeah. So that was brain firing off in your brain?
No, it was, you were talking about when they say, when you're getting resistance, when they say no, I strongly believe that no is not a bad word. I strongly believe that no is not a bad word because if someone says no, it gives you an opportunity for two things: to get clarity or to change direction. And
Yes.
I believe that like no scary. We are conditioned as a child to fear the word no. We were just conditioned when you're doing something wrong, and our automatic response is why? No, why? Who keeps control in that situation? If you tell me no and I say why, you have control. You get to
Yes.
tell me. And so again, and I learned this recently reading a book by Chris Voss, but it's when you say no, it helps me because then now I have an option to be able to I need to get clarity or I need to change direction. And so by
Yeah.
just changing the way that I respond to you, like instead of going why, my favorite is, well, how could I make this be a yes?
Yep.
And so it's
Yep.
just little things like that then you're going to know really quick it's never going to happen. Change direction.
Yep.
Or Jennifer, if you do these things, then we can do it. Clarity, change direction. They're amazing because they'll get you one step closer to something instead of no, okay, and then I go back and I'm still not any clearer than I was when I walked into the situation.
Yes. Why does that Chris Voss name sound familiar to me, Jen?
Jesse, because Chris Voss is going to be one of our keynotes at Congress this year in Arlington. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So, folks, Arlington 2025 in October, y'all got to come to the LCI Congress. Jennifer is co-chairing with another amazing leader, Mr. Keon, and Chris Voss is going to be one of the keynote speakers.
Yes.
If you haven't read the book,
they wrote it in the comments already. Never split the difference.
Never Split the Difference. Amazing book, solid strategies. And so I'm going to, folks, you got a couple more minutes. Leave your thoughts in your comments so that you can get in the randomizer, because I need you in the randomizer because I want somebody to come and experience the motion of bungee jumpers. Heather says, but there's problems everywhere. Yes. So just pick one at a time. Like
and they're not all ours, but they're not all our problems.
Right. They're not. Yes. Now on your point, I'm going to put this question up that I want people to think about.
Yes.
Because I know that it's super, super important. Like health-wise, how do you keep your change leader batteries charged? I'm missing an R. Damn it. I'm surprised I even caught that. Anyways.
You got it.
So, how do you keep you? So, whatever. But so, like change, the way I think about it is I change my perspective. When people are like objecting and arguing and saying no and bringing up issues, what I've observed is that's better than the quiet ones. The people that aren't saying anything, they're like checked out. Right? They're usually checked out or they're 100% bought in. And either way, like, what awesome.
Yes.
The folks that are contesting and objecting and challenging and whatever, I love that because I had to like evaluate myself when I give in a concept, a thought, or idea, I chew on it and it comes out as challenging, objecting, and questioning, etc. And so the way I decide to interpret that now when it's happening in the room is like, they're reconciling how to make this make sense for them. So I see it as a 100% win instead of, again, seeing it as rejection. So I'm going to read Miss Colleen because she's sharing some pointers, Colleen and Clyde. Colleen says, the approach I take is that of a researcher experimenter, yes, and seeing the environment as a dojo lab. Oh, I love that. Because you're going to be fighting, right?
Yes.
Stick with PDCA within your own scope of influence. Amen. See the hard days like being on the
Galapagos.
Fancy. Yeah. And you've just discovered the three-eyed platypus. Learning and unlearning is a gift. Beautiful. Well said, sister. Man, that's gangsta. And Clyde says, from his Marine training, lead by example. Don't take long breaks or lunch. Be on time. Be prepared for the days to work, right? Which I think goes to your body of work, right? If you want to build influence, but you haven't contributed anything meaningful, you're not going to get any influence, right? Like you got to contribute. You got to have evidence that you're a gamer and then people are going to be receptive to your thoughts.
Yes.
Like James says, vulnerability. He's seriously growing into the use of vulnerability, and it's been a game changer for him, continuing to get better at it day by day. That's a huge cheat code. I don't know. Should we do the randomizer test, Jen?
Yes, because I have like 1,000 answers to this question. So do we do the randomizer first, and then I can come in and dig into an example and then some other things. So I think that's
all right, y'all. It is time for the randomizer.
So Jesse, what again, real quick? What are they? They're if you get picked. So if you haven't put your name in there, do it really super quick. But when you get picked, you get a free month to come and join Jesse and I for Emotional Bungee Jumpers and for Cultivation Crew.
Yes. So the second and fourth Friday of the month at 2 p.m. Central, you will get a sample of all the crazy, awesome, deep, emotional, scary awakenings. Like that's all it is. It's awakening. Yes. So if you're comfortable with being uncomfortable and looking for some massive self-awareness and maybe a slap or two in the face, you want to win. Are you motivated now?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So randomizer time. Oh, Sarah's the winner. Oh man, that's so awesome. So Sarah is a repeat offender, which means because she's already a member of the Emotional Bungee Jumpers, longtime member, huge contributor. So Miss Sarah, you already know the deal. You can gift it to somebody else. Like pick somebody you want to gift your pass to, and we'll make sure they come and experience that bad boy. So what's your answer, Jen?
Okay, so I'm going to answer this in a minute, but I want to double down on the people that speak up in the rooms. And like sometimes we're just like, oh, they're trying to disrupt. So I was going into a onboarding, an alignment class, and I was getting like people that were letting me know what I was about to walk into. So they were just like, just be ready, because this superintendent is already coming in. He's got all his ammunition. He is about to just disrupt everything that you're going to do. And I'm like, okay. And for whatever reason, no fear, no worry, just like, okay, we'll see how this goes. And those are like my favorite, because again, like you said, I love when people speak, because a lot of times they'll sit there and they'll have all these thoughts and then they'll leave and they'll go tell somebody something. And so for me to already know, he was already ready. Like he was already letting people know he was going to come in ready to go. And so we were talking through the boards, the daily huddle boards, the last planner boards, those of you that know that. And he comes in and we're talking through it. He raises his hand. He's like, Jennifer, let me tell you about my problem with this. And I'm like, tell me what you got. He said, this is, I understand this and I understand this. He goes, but let me tell you the problem with these boards. He said, they don't help me with milestone activities. And again, he's processing a lot of things. Like you said, a lot of times when they're talking, they're like getting those things out of their head that this is why I can't get on board with this. And he said, so let me tell you what I'm doing different than what you're saying. I'm like, tell me. He said, I've just put a little column and I mark the things that are milestone activities. And I said, that's an amazing thing. That's an amazing idea. I turned it into not a problem. And all of a sudden, he's getting recognition in the room. He's getting acknowledged. And whatever he did is a solution that is going to make something better for him. I didn't have to change anything I did other than just allow him to speak and then, again, acknowledge what he said. And like he left that room in a completely different space than he was when he walked in. And sometimes we get so caught up on this, it has to be this, it has to do this, whatever. And we stop and we lose sight of that interaction and that ability to be able to get somebody to get on board with something. So.
Oh, you froze up, but that's okay.
Am I talking still though?
What's happening? All right. So yes, Jen, like give people the space to come in and contribute. Like,
yes.
I know some of us, I used to get super hung. Oh, okay. You're back.
Okay.
Good. Like
I didn't lose you, so I heard you the whole time. So you're good.
Good. Give them the space to like contribute and share their perspective, right? Oh, Sarah's saying she heard you, Jen. Yeah. Instead of like, I'm the front of the room, I'm the teacher, I'm the one that knows the standard, and you got to do the standard. And like, come on, man. Like, for real. We're here to help people is the thing helping people, period? Like,
Yes.
am I contributing? Am I making somebody's day better? Do I need to relax off the standard a little bit? A lot of times, yes, because
Yes.
it is a step in the right direction.
Yes.
That is about me getting beyond me, right?
Yeah.
And being focused on service. Um, so I'm
And
trying
then
to put the link. So I
can I,
put
and
the
I'm
link.
so I'm gonna let me answer the question while you're doing that. So because I want to
Yep.
answer this question. So the default for me, and everybody knows that, is how do I keep my leader batteries charged? It's by surrounding myself with the right people. So that's default. I feel like I lean into that all the time. Jesse and I just had a conversation yesterday, which is to me another layer of how I do this. So because when you are in a position to lead change, you are in a lot of conversations where people are asking you to give them what they need. And a lot of times it's a template or it's a whatever it is. It's the things that they need to be able to go and do what you believe in or the change that you're trying to impact. And I believe that in those situations when I'm the one providing, it's draining. And so it's hard sometimes for me, like those batteries can get drained by just people needing, and it's not reciprocal. And it's like, so one way that I can keep my batteries charged is putting myself also in rooms to where when I'm getting to talk and speak, I'm getting to inspire people. I'm getting people excited about something that they didn't know about before. And so to balance the two, that is how I keep my batteries charged. It's being the resource because we all know that that's important, but also being the person that is helping people. All of a sudden, their mind is shifting a little bit and they're thinking about something different. And in those rooms, when I leave and I see their faces and I get their feedback, like I'm on top of the world. Like I can go and do anything.
Yes. Yeah, agreed. And so we got a lot of answers.
Okay.
Miss Heather says community, of course, right? I think we're all in the same
Yep.
same realm here. Let's see. Oh, look, Cindy's here. What's up, Cindy?
Whoop, whoop.
She says, problems, what problems? You mean opportunities to be challenged.
Yes.
Hey, if that play on words works for you, keep doing it. Heather, I'm sorry, Steve Martin says, yep, community. Milo says the way to recharge for me is to get out of that lonely underwater place and breathe by engaging with like-minded people I respect. So, right, it's this community thing, and that's absolutely my cheat code, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is especially if you're in an official, like your role is to lead change and disrupt the status quo and or deploy a new initiative. If you're a manager, a leader, like all of that is leading change.
Mm-hmm.
And in your business, in your job, very few people, rather, this was my experience. I found that there weren't a lot of people that understood, or more importantly, didn't really care about how difficult it was for me personally. So I had to design a way to have a regular touch check-in with other people that do the same work, right? Like Milo said, like-minded. And I learned that from the group that I was leading. They were all they were the one person with that responsibility in the whole business unit. And they were scattered across the country. And they were very talented, very skilled. But when we got together, they looked like they were beat up, like exhausted. And they like their language, their body mannerisms, etc., communicated that they felt like they were failing. And I'm like, y'all are doing great. Anyways, so then we made it a regular thing to say, hey man, what are you struggling with? All of a sudden, like, oh, you're struggling with that too. Like, yeah, it's not because you suck. It's because that's the way it is. And so like-minded people that have the shared experience, hanging out with them, because and when I say shared experience, especially in this change space, people that are leading change as part of their job understand all this other, rejection and frustration and slow pace and all of that. They may not have the answers. It doesn't matter because they understand, right? Like we get to commiserate and understand that I'm not inadequate. Mm-hmm. This is the work. This is what the work feels like. So again, what to expect if you're leading change. Expect it to be difficult. Expect it to be an enormously challenging experience for you as a human being, and some fuel for growth. So,
Yes.
Jen, you got a closing thought for us?
I do have a closing thought. So I want to and double down on a lot of the conversations we had today. So number one, the status quo, like just checking the boxes, you'll get promoted, you'll have a great career, like you'll get money in the bank. But if you want to change the world, if you want to make change and make things better, you're going to have to do scary things. And I say scary because they're going to push you outside of your comfort zone, and they're going to make you have to make decisions. So I have the sticky, and it was funny. I was thinking about my closing thought. This is my sticky on my computer every day. Says,
I can't read it.
What it says, what you are not changing, you are choosing.
Ooh, gangsta. Yeah.
So every day it's like, what am I, if I'm not making a change somewhere, I'm choosing to settle for the status quo.
Yep.
And those are decisions I get to make every day.
And you get to choose 100%. Yes. So I'm going to cheat. First, I want to give everybody a heads up. I put the links to the after party on the Facebook and the LinkedIn and the YouTube. It's on the No BS with Jen and Jess.
On my page, it's on every page. Yes. So No BS and my page both have links directly to the after party. Yes.
Do the clicking. If you're struggling to get in, send a signal. We'll do our best to get you there. But I want to shout out Daryl. Daryl says, I stay in rooms with those that raise my energy, or if I'm able to raise theirs, right? That reciprocal thing. It's a tough discipline, but yes, absolutely. And Maria, and I'll say, I'm going to close with this. Maria says, resistance, what's that? Planting seeds today and watering them, or changing their environment until they bloom. Like that's it. Plant seeds, make deposits, nurture that, and it'll be easier, but also come up with a plan to recharge your batteries. Surround yourself with people that are in the business, meaning like they can't help. I'll say it this way. Surround yourself with the afflicted.
Yes, it is. We're going to own it. It's an affliction.
Right? You were afflicted with needing to change things and always wanting to help and serve, because they will understand, and you need to go back to that source to get the energy so that you know that you are actually amazing and change is just hard. So we'll see you at the after party. Yes. Peace out. We'll see you next time.